What's up, fight fans and cannabis activists alike? We're back with another edition of My Marijuana Chronicles, sponsored as always by our good friends at O2 Vape. Make sure you check them out at o2vape.com and use promo code MyMMANews at checkout for 20% off your order. The most innovative vape tech around, hands down. I love them. You will too. Get yourself one. MyMMANews at checkout. On this edition, we have three-time high rollers champion Valerie Wong, professional MMA fighter, also three-time champion of high roller. She's here to talk about defending her strap at Ladies Night. She's here to talk about why she utilizes cannabis in her everyday recovery. She's here to talk about that and so much more. I got to thank my guests for joining me. First and foremost, Valerie, how's it going? How are you?
I'm so good, so excited to be talking to you. How are you doing?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. It's a pleasure to have you on. I've been following your jiu-jitsu career for quite some time now. I'm a huge fan of high rollers. I'm going to be going there in November. So first and foremost, it's a pleasure to talk to such a champion of such a caliber. Valerie, how are you?
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's just fun. Jiu-jitsu is just fun, and getting to be a champ 3 times in a row just adds to it.
So let's talk about it. High rollers, they're doing something completely different for jujitsu. I mean, fusing cannabis and jujitsu. We've talked a little bit off record, and I mean, cannabis and jujitsu and combat sports essentially, it almost goes hand in hand. I mean, with the anxiety levels, the physical illnesses that you get to recover with from it. Cannabis, it just covers all of the avenues. So high rollers, they're doing it right and they're doing big things. So I got to ask, how is it competing under high rollers, almost becoming a face of high rollers three
Oh,
times?
I mean, I don't know if we'll go that far, but thank you. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I tell them every time that the events they put on are amazing, like what they're doing for the cannabis industry and combining us with athletes and also for athletes being able to be supported by dispensaries is really cool, and them just making it like more athletic rather than hey, let's like you know get stoned and chill out. It's like hey, let's do this sport that we love to do while smoking cannabis, and like it's just a good time.
Now, like we said, fusing cannabis and jiu-jitsu and everything, I want to ask about your journey into cannabis, just because everybody has their own avenue and why they utilize such a miracle drug. Honestly, just calling it for what it is, a miracle drug. So, what is your reason why you utilize cannabis in your daily recovery?
So my start with cannabis, I actually, like in high school, I never was interested really. It's not, it just wasn't around me. I wasn't ever really like pulled towards it. And so I actually didn't start with my cannabis interest until I started training. And a couple years into my jujitsu, starting my MMA career, I just needed it for recovery. I needed it to sleep, to get a little more hungry so that I could eat after sessions, because when you're just so exhausted, sometimes all you want to do is just sit there. But cannabis did the opposite for me and, made me want to eat, made me want to do some recovery before I took a nap. And so for me, like it really is the biggest benefit to being an athlete that I have. It helps me relax if I have nerves or chill out after a really tough practice and just kind of let my body relax on its own. Or like if I'm hungry, it helps me eat and not just like munchies and wanting to have chips and candies. Like I want to have real full meals. And so it's just great as an athlete for so many different things.
Now, with all considering, and like you were saying, you teaching the kids class, everything like, and you have a pro career as an MMA fighter. Are you ever nervous about, being targeted just because some people might still have that stigma in their head that, that one person they want to drug test, they're going to make sure they drug test. Are you ever nervous about being that target?
No, not too much. Especially like if I know I have a fight coming up or something and there's going to be testing or anything, like I'll cut back my usage or I'll stay clean for the couple days. I'll be miserable a little bit, but it is what it is. And thankfully, a lot of sports overseers, sorry, I don't know the name, are allowing cannabis use in a lot of different sports. Like the UFC, I think now is like changing their testing, which is awesome. So it's really good to see that a lot of commissions are actually like seeing the benefits of cannabis for athletes and kind of like trying to alter their rule sets and their testing to accommodate for that.
And speaking of your win off of High Rollers, just kind of I'm bouncing back and forth here. You're also coming off of a win at Empire Fighting Championships earlier this year. So with you balancing both, I mean, you're doing High Rollers, you're doing your pro career, you're doing so many different things. When can we see you next in action?
I'm hoping we just talked about off camera. You mentioned that you were actually going to be going to a high rollers event soon, and so there's one in November, I believe. That I'm
War
hoping
Games.
maybe I can get on. Otherwise, they're just rolling them out. They have shows every 2 months, so hopefully I'll just keep getting on high rollers as much as I can. And an MMA fight, I'd like to have one start of next year.
What about the vibe competing at High Rollers? Let's talk about that just for a minute. I mean, the stars are studded. I mean, the celebrities come flowing in. I mean, the last one you had Jorge Masvidal going in. I mean, you yourself, you took out legend Jessica I. I mean, that's just like there's stars rolling in and rolling out, and stars being making like yourself. Go ahead and say, yeah, I don't know about all that, but just calling a spade a spade. Stars being made, just the vibe itself. Can you talk about the vibe competing at High Rollers?
You walk into that building and you can just tell everyone there is happy. Everyone's loving being in that room. We're all just there to support each other. And it's funny because even, at other jujitsu tournaments, like everyone's friends after, but before you're like sizing up your opponents. You're like, oh, is that the person I'm going against? Let me watch them a little bit. And like at high rollers, I went against Gina and I was like, she's right there. Should I go say, I'm going to go say hi to her? I was real nervous because you don't know how opponents are going to react. And she was super nice. And all the opponents I've had have been so nice. Jessica, we competed against each other in the tournament. Unfortunately for her, I beat her. And we saw each other at this last event and she was super nice to me, and she's the one that put together the event. And like, you can think, oh, maybe she wouldn't invite me on the card because I competed against her. But no, I was invited. She was super polite, like we've all shared a joint backstage, like, and all the support from the dispensaries is really awesome. They give us these amazing goodie bags for everyone who competes. They hook us up with amazing products and shirts, and it's just it's so amazing. People love being there and love being a part of it, and I'm just so lucky that I got to compete and that I've been doing good and able to continue coming back. So yeah, it's one of the coolest events I've ever been a part of.
Now that you've been, like I said, becoming more and more of a face of High Rollers, you taking home the prize, which we all know what it is. Is everybody trying to hit up Valerie Wong for the extra strap? Hey, Valerie, why don't you roll me up a joint? Why don't you toss me a little bit of this, toss me a little bit of that? Because I mean, hey, you got enough to start your own dispensary now. I mean,
Oh my
goodness
gosh.
gracious.
When I won the second jar, I wasn't even through the first one. Like, oh man, I was shocked. Not as much people asking. And I think it's because people didn't actually believe that that's the prize that I got. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, so you won like a little bit? And I'm like, no, I won a full pound. And they're like, oh, a full pound? Like, it sets in for them that, oh, that's a lot. And I'm like, yeah. But I always make sure I hand out a lot of the goodie bag treats that I get to like my coaches and everything. Got to take care of the people who got me there and get me the win.
That's awesome. So, if it's not going to be for High Rollers, when can we see you next in the cage? Because I mean, Syndicate MMA. I'm sure you guys are rolling strong. You guys got Roxy there. You guys got Serena, my girl Serena De Jesus there. You guys got a lot of people. So, again, between High Rollers and the cage, the MMA career, when are we going to see it?
Hopefully beginning of next year, looking for maybe January. End of the year is always crazy with
Yeah.
traveling and personal stuff, and then just had the 3 or 4 back-to-back jujitsu competitions. So hopefully beginning of the year. But yeah, I'm training with some killers. We have 4 girls I think that are you in the UFC: JoJo, Emily,
Hmm.
uh, oh my god, Roxy. We have a bunch of yonis in from Korea. We have a crazy amount of talent. The jujitsu program has some killer girls that come after me every single day. And what's really cool about being in Vegas and right next to the PI and it being an MMA hub, we always have people visiting. that
Mm.
are either just in for the week getting ready for their fights or, just coming to Vegas to train. And so I just get to train with some amazing people.
So, for some people closing it down here, that might be a little bit apprehensive. Some people that might still have a little bit of the stigma in them. I mean, just calling it for what it is, you're a young, prosperous, attractive young woman, and you're just doing amazing things in jujitsu, also on top of being a cannabis user. What would you say for somebody that's maybe toying with the option of trying cannabis?
And I feel like for people who are really on the fence about it is go to a dispensary, or talk to someone who's in the field, who knows a lot of it about it, who uses it for recovery as well, and look at why they use it. Ask them, okay, well, what reasons would it help me, and then try little things. You don't have to go straight to smoking an entire joint, maybe try a small dose of an edible, see how that does for you. And, like watch high rollers, see how all of us are smoking a joint backstage or something, and then going out and grappling for 15 minutes and having the time of our lives. We're not just chilling out on the mat, the typical melting into the couch experience, and there's so many people that maybe you wouldn't think do it that do and just use it for their own small benefits or in their house. And so I think we're slowly breaking those stigmas. We're showing the world it's not a sit on the couch type of, drug.
I agree with you. And final thing I do have for you before I let you go is you being the high rollers champion, you're the one that has the target on your back. You're not the one that's calling people out, right? The people are calling you out. So what do you have to say for the people that want to take that high roller strap from you?
I mean, I've defended it 3 times already, and I'm defending it a lot more coming up. So I'm just ready.
I love it. Valerie, I appreciate your time. Hopefully I see you next month in Vegas. I look forward to talking to you in the future. And again, I appreciate your time so much. Congratulations. I'm going to start calling you Mrs. High Roller now.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate talking to you, you taking your time to talk to me. And I am so excited that you get to go experience the High Rollers event because it's honestly unlike anything else.
Well, hopefully we get to run into each other out there and maybe split a joint out there. I'm sure my wife would love to meet you and split a joint with you, and we'll all have a good time. So it'll be fun.
Once you split a joint, lifelong friends.
That's it. That's it. There she goes, Valerie Wong, three-time high rollers champ, professional fighter. Oh, and she's just got it all going on for her. If you want that belt, you're going to have to see Miss Valerie Wong at High Rollers, and I appreciate her time. For Valerie Wong, I am Adam Chris. Make sure you keep it locked to my MMA News.com for all your fight news needs.